My name is Jordan Mitchell, and I'm the youngest of 3 children in what outsiders would call a successful family. My father owned a moderately profitable accounting firm. My mother was a real estate agent. My older brother Marcus became a corporate lawyer. And my sister, Dr. Rebecca Mitchell, was the family crown jewel, a dermatologist with her own practice. Then there was me, the disappointing one. I didn't follow the traditional path. While my siblings pursued prestigious degrees and climbed corporate ladders, I took a different route. After college, I worked quietly in financial consulting, then moved into private equity. I kept my head down, made strategic investments, and built something substantial. But to my family, I was invisible. Worse than invisible, I was the cautionary tale they told at dinner parties about what happens when you don't apply yourself. The truth? I'd been managing a private equity portfolio worth $127 million for the past 6 years. My clients included tech startups, medical facilities, and commercial real estate developments. I specialized in silent partnerships, providing capital without public acknowledgement. One of my largest investments was a $3.8 million business loan to a promising medical practice that needed expansion capital. The practice was owned by Dr. Rebecca Mitchell. My sister had no idea her anonymous benefactor was me. Growing up, Rebecca was the golden child. Straight A's, medical school, residency at a prestigious hospital. Every family gathering became a celebration of Rebecca's latest achievement. Rebecca just published another paper. Rebecca's practice is expanding. Rebecca bought a house in the best neighborhood. Meanwhile, I was the afterthought. When relatives asked about me, Mom would wave dismissively, "Jordan's doing something with computers and money. We don't really understand it." The comparison became explicit during my college years. I'd chosen finance over medicine or law, which my father viewed as taking the easy route. "Anyone can shuffle money around," Dad said during my graduation dinner. "Your sister saves lives. Marcus defends justice. What do you do? Stare at spreadsheets." Rebecca laughed. "Don't be too hard on him, Dad. Not everyone has the discipline for real professions." I didn't argue. I was 22 and had just accepted a position at a boutique investment firm in the city. I was learning, watching, absorbing everything I could about capital deployment, risk assessment, and strategic partnerships. 3 years later, I left the firm to start my own advisory practice. I was 25, managing $8 million in client assets, and my family thought I was still figuring things out. By 28, I'd grown my portfolio to $43 million. I'd developed a specialty in medical facility financing, providing growth capital to doctors who wanted to expand but couldn't secure traditional bank loans due to the strict lending requirements post-financial crisis. That's when Rebecca approached me. Well, not me directly. He approached my firm. She was 32, had been running her dermatology practice for 4 years, and wanted to expand to 3 locations. She needed $3.8 million for real estate acquisition, equipment, and staffing. Her loan application crossed my desk. I reviewed her business plan, her patient retention rates, her revenue projections. It was solid. Really solid. Rebecca might have been insufferable to me personally, but professionally she'd built an impressive practice. I approved the loan through my firm, structured as an anonymous private lender. She'd never know it was me. Market rate interest, standard terms, 7-year payback period. I told myself it was purely business. A good investment in a profitable medical practice. But part of me, a small petty part, enjoyed the irony. The sister who called me financially illiterate was building her empire on my capital. For 3 years, Rebecca made her payments perfectly. Her practice thrived. She opened 2 additional locations, hired 6 more staff, and increased her annual revenue to $4.2 million. And for 3 years she never missed an opportunity to remind me of my inadequacy. While Rebecca publicly celebrated her success, I quietly built an empire she couldn't comprehend. By 31, I was managing $127 million across 17 investments. My clients included *4 medical practices including Rebecca's, *6 tech startups in healthcare AI, *3 commercial real estate developments, *2 manufacturing facilities, *a sustainable agriculture project. I specialized in being invisible. No public profiles, no social media presence, no press releases. My clients knew me as J. Mitchell, or simply the firm. I operated through attorneys, accountants, and a small team of trusted advisors. My annual income varied, but averaged around $3.7 million from management fees, interest payments, and equity stakes. I lived comfortably but not ostentatiously. A nice downtown loft, a reliable car, good coffee, better wine. To my family, I looked like a struggling financial consultant. I worked from home, didn't wear suits to family dinners, and drove a 7-year-old sedan. Still doing the freelance thing? Marcus would ask with barely concealed pity. Still haven't settled into a real career? Mom would sigh. Rebecca was the worst. As her practice grew, funded by my $3.8 million, her condescension became intolerable. Jordan, have you thought about going back to school? She asked at Easter last year. Maybe get an MBA? It's never too late to develop real credentials. I'm fine, thanks. Fine isn't thriving, little brother. Look at what focused ambition can achieve. She gestured around her newly renovated house, the one she'd purchased with profits from the practice I was financing. I smiled politely. You're right. Focus matters. What I didn't tell her. I'd just closed a $22 million acquisition deal for a medical equipment company. My cut was $1.8 million. What I didn't tell Marcus when he bragged about his $340,000 annual salary, I'd made that in the first quarter. What I didn't tell my parents when they worried about my lack of direction. My portfolio was larger than Dad's entire accounting firm's lifetime revenue. I wasn't hiding out of shame. I was protecting myself. I'd learned early that family plus money equals complications. I'd watched wealthy relatives get drained by entitled family members. I'd seen successful friends trapped in endless loan requests and guilt trips. So I stayed quiet. I lived well below my means publicly. And I watched. The breaking point came at Sunday family dinner 3 weeks ago. Mom had insisted on a whole family dinner at the country club. Rebecca had just been featured in a local magazine's Top Doctors Under 40 profile, and this was her celebration. I arrived in my usual attire, clean jeans, button-down shirt, nice boots. Rebecca arrived in designer everything, fresh from her third practice location's grand opening. Dinner started normally. Dad talked about his firm. Marcus discussed a big case. Mom showed photos from her latest luxury home listing. Then Rebecca started. So Jordan, she said, swirling her wine, still doing the freelance consulting thing? Still working in finance, yes. Finance. She made air quotes. Right. What exactly does that mean? Like, what do you actually do all day? I manage investments and provide capital advisory services. Marcus laughed. That's a fancy way of saying you help people with their 401 Burmese chats. Something like that. Rebecca leaned forward. Be honest, are you making enough to live on? Because if you need help, I'm doing really well. I could probably throw some consulting work your way. My practice needs someone to organize receipts. The table went quiet. That crossed a line even for Rebecca. I'm fine, I said evenly. Are you though? Dad interjected. Jordan, you're 31. Your sister owns 3 medical practices. Marcus just made partner. When are you going to establish something real? I have. Have you? Mom's tone was gentle but pitying. Sweetheart, we just worry. You live in that small apartment, you drive that old car, you never talk about clients or deals. Meanwhile, your sister just closed a deal for, what was it, honey? $2.1 million equipment purchase, Rebecca said proudly. Expanding all 3 locations with the latest laser technology. I knew about that purchase. She'd used her credit line, the one secured against her practice's assets, the assets I was financing. That's impressive, I said. It is, Dad agreed. That's what real success looks like, Jordan. Building something tangible. Providing value. Creating jobs. He turned to Rebecca. How many people do you employ now? 23 across 3 locations. 23 families depending on your success, Dad said. That's leadership. That's impact. The implicit comparison hung in the air. Unlike you. I could have walked away. Should have walked away. But then Rebecca said it. Stop pretending you have money, Rebecca laughed, looking directly at me. We all know the truth. The table went silent. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Mom looked away. Though. Dad nodded. Finally someone said it. He agreed. Jordan, you're 31 years old. Whatever you're doing, it's not working. You can't sustain yourself on small consulting gigs forever. I'm not. Look at your sister, Dad continued. She took risks. Invested in herself. Built something real. You're still playing it safe with other people's pocket change. Rebecca smirked. I'm just saying what we're all thinking. Little brother walks around like he's some financial genius, but he can't even afford a new car. Rebecca, Mom said weakly. No, she's right, Marcus added. Jordan, man, it's time for some tough love. You're spinning your wheels. Maybe it's time to consider a real job. I could probably get you an interview at my firm. Entry level, but it's a start. I looked around the table. My father nodding in agreement. My mother looking embarrassed for me. My brother offering me charity. My sister barely containing her laughter. And I felt nothing. No anger, no hurt. Just clarity. These people had no idea who I was. What I'd built. What I was capable of. They'd made assumptions based on appearances and never bothered to look deeper. I reached for my phone. What are you doing? Rebecca asked. Checking your portfolio of what, $50,000? Something like that, I said, pulling up my contacts. I found the number for James Chin, my private banker at Silvercrest Financial. James managed the lending division that had originated Rebecca's $3.8 million loan. Jordan, Mom said, can you put the phone away? We're having a family discussion. This will just take a moment, I said calmly. I dialed. James answered on the second ring. Jordan, good to hear from you. What can I do? James, I need to exercise the recall clause on the Mitchell Medical Group loan. The $3.8 million facility. There was a pause. The dermatology practice? That's one of our best performing loans. May I ask why? Personal reasons. The terms allow for recall with 90 days notice, correct? Yes, but Jordan, that's a nuclear option. It'll force immediate refinancing. In this market with her current debt-to-income ratio. I understand the implications. Please initiate the recall process immediately. You're certain? I looked at Rebecca, who was watching me with amused condescension, completely unaware of what was happening. I'm certain. Send the notification tonight. Understood. I'll have the documents prepared within the hour. I hung up. The table was staring at me. Sorry about that, I said pleasantly. Where were we? Who was that? Marcus asked. Pi banker. Rebecca laughed. Your banker? Jordan, you don't need to. Her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. It's my accountant. Why would he be calling on a Sunday evening? Might want to answer that, I said, taking a sip of water. Rebecca stepped away from the table, phone pressed to her ear. Through the country club's ambient noise, I could see her expression change. Confusion, then concern, then panic. She came back to the table, face pale. I need to make another call. Excuse me. She rushed toward the lobby. Mom looked concerned. Is everything okay? I'm sure it's fine, I said. It wasn't fine. Within minutes, Rebecca would receive the official notification. Her $3.8 million business loan was being recalled. She had 90 days to secure alternative financing or face asset seizure on her practice properties. Rebecca returned 10 minutes later. She looked shaken. Jordan, she said carefully, can I talk to you privately? Anything you want to say you can say here. We're family, right? She sat down slowly. There's been some kind of mistake with my business loan. The bank is calling it due. All of it. $3.1 million remaining balance. Dad frowned. What? Why? They said the lender is exercising a recall clause. But that doesn't make sense. I've never missed a payment. My practice is thriving. This has to be an error. That's terrible, I said. Have you contacted the lender? It's an anonymous private lender. I've only ever dealt with the bank as the servicer. My accountant is trying to reach someone now, but she looked at me suspiciously. That phone call you made. What was that about? Just banking business. What kind of banking business? The kind that manages investment portfolios. Marcus leaned forward. Jordan, what did you do? I exercised my rights as a private lender to recall a business loan that's within my investment portfolio. The table went silent. Rebecca's voice was barely a whisper. What? Your practice. Mitchell Medical Group. 3 locations. $3.8 million loan originated 4 years ago through Silvercrest Financial. I'm the lender. Dad shook his head. That's not possible. You don't have that kind of money. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. I turned the screen toward him. The account summary showed Silvercrest Private Equity, available balance, $43,847,291.17. That's one of 4 accounts, I said quietly. I manage a portfolio worth $127 million. Your daughter's medical practice is one of 17 active investments. Mom's hand went to her mouth. Marcus stared at the screen. Rebecca looked like she might be sick. You're lying, Rebecca said. This is fake. Some kind of. Her phone rang again. She looked at the screen. It's the bank president. You should answer that, I said. James Chin is probably calling to confirm the recall order and discuss your refinancing options. Rebecca answered, her hand shaking. Hello? Yes, this is Dr. Mitchell. What? No, I don't understand. She listened, her face going from pale to gray. The lender is my brother? She looked at me with something between horror and disbelief. You're telling me Jordan Mitchell, my brother Jordan, is the private equity fund that... To listen more. $127 million portfolio? That can't be. Her voice trailed off. She ended the call. He confirmed it, she whispered. Everything. The loan, the recall, your portfolio. He said you're one of their largest private clients. Dad looked like he'd been hit with a brick. Jordan, I don't understand. If you have this kind of money, why do you live like... Like what, Dad? Like someone who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. You've been lying to us, Mom said. For years. No. I've been private. There's a difference. You assumed I was failing because I didn't perform success the way you wanted me to. I never actually told you I was struggling. Marcus found his voice. You let us think you were barely getting by. You wanted to think that. It made you feel better about yourselves. I looked at each of them. Every family dinner, every holiday, every gathering, it was the same script. Rebecca's achievements. Marcus's success. Jordan's disappointment. You cast me in that role and I let you because it was easier than dealing with your jealousy or your demands. Demands. Dad's face reddened. We're your family. Exactly. And the moment you knew I had money, what would have happened? Marcus needs help with a down payment. Rebecca wants investment in her 4th location. Dad's firm needs capital. Mom wants a beach house. It never ends. That's not fair, Rebecca said, but her voice was weak. Isn't it? Rebecca, you've spent 3 years telling me I don't understand money while building your empire on MY money. The equipment you just bought? The expansion you're celebrating? I made that possible. I earned that, she shot back. I built that practice from nothing. From $3.8 million of my capital, which in the medical lending market of 4 years ago was nearly impossible to secure. You want to know why your loan terms were so favorable? No prepayment penalties, below market interest, flexible covenants? Because I structured it that way. Why? She asked. If you hated us so much, why help me at all? I didn't hate you. I hated how you treated me. But you're still my sister. Your business plan was solid. It was a good investment. I separated the personal from the professional. Until tonight, Marcus said. Until tonight, I agreed. When Rebecca decided to publicly humiliate me over money, while sitting in a country club paid for by profits from a practice I'm financing. That felt like the right time to stop separating business from personal. Rebecca was crying now. Jordan, please. If you recall this loan, I'll have to refinance at commercial rates. With my current debt load, that could cost me an additional $400,000 in interest over the loan term. It could bankrupt the expansion. Yes, I said simply. You destroy my practice? Over hurt feelings. I'm not destroying anything. I'm withdrawing my capital from an investment where the client has demonstrated poor judgment and lack of respect. That's just sound business. Dad stood up. Jordan Mitchell, you will not do this to your sister. I already have. The recall notice was sent 20 minutes ago. Then you'll reverse it. No. I'm your father. And I'm a 31-year-old adult managing a 9-figure portfolio. You don't have authority here, Dad. Mom was crying. How did we not know? How did we miss this? You didn't want to know. You wanted the story you'd already written. Jordan, the disappointment made Rebecca the star shine brighter. It was convenient. Rebecca grabbed my arm. Please. I'm sorry. We were wrong. I was wrong. But please don't do this. I gently removed her hand. You have 90 days to refinance. Your practice is profitable. You'll find another lender. At what cost? Jordan, I have employees. Patience. This isn't just about me. Then you should have thought about that before you decided to publicly mock someone you knew nothing about. I'm your sister. Yes. And in 90 days you'll be my former client. I stood up, placed my napkin on the table. Marcus blocked my path. You're really going to do this? Destroy her business because your feelings got hurt. I'm exercising my legal rights as a lender. Rebecca signed a contract. She understood the terms. One of those terms was that the lender could recall the loan with proper notice. I'm providing that notice. This is revenge, Dad said. Pure revenge. No. Revenge would be doing this without warning. Revenge would be forcing an immediate call with no notice period. Revenge would be releasing the details to the medical community that she's losing financing. I looked at Rebecca. You have 3 months. Your practice is strong. You'll survive this. But you'll do it without my money, and you'll do it with the knowledge that actions have consequences. Jordan. I'm done with this conversation. I'm done with these dinners. I'm done being your punching bag. I walked toward the exit. Behind me I could hear Rebecca sobbing, Mom trying to comfort her, Dad and Marcus arguing about whether to follow me. I didn't look back. The next 72 hours were chaos for Rebecca's world and silence from mine. Monday morning, Rebecca's accountant called an emergency meeting with her attorney and her practice manager. The recall meant she needed to secure $3.1 million in refinancing within 90 days or face default. She tried calling me. 17 times Monday. 23 times Tuesday. I didn't answer. Marcus called trying to broker peace. Jordan, man, you made your point. He's terrified. Just give her a chance to. 90 days, I said and hung up. Dad sent an email. Your mother is devastated. Your sister is facing bankruptcy. Is this really who you want to be? I replied, I'm the person you raised to believe actions have consequences. Rebecca's actions. Rebecca's consequences. By Wednesday, word had spread through the family. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Everyone had an opinion. Some sided with me. About time someone put Rebecca in her place. Most sided with her. Family takes care of family. This is cruel. I stayed silent. I'd said everything that needed saying. What they didn't know. I was watching Rebecca's refinancing process carefully through my industry contacts. She applied to 4 commercial banks. All rejected her. Her debt-to-income ratio was too high with the expansion, and her current cash flow couldn't support the higher interest rates commercial loans required. She approached 3 private lenders. 2 weren't interested in medical practice financing. 1 offered terms that would have added $680,000 to her total repayment cost. By Friday, 1 week after the dinner, Rebecca was desperate. She appeared at my apartment at 6 a.m. I answered the door in a t-shirt and sweatpants, coffee in hand. Rebecca. Please let me in. I stepped aside. She walked into my loft, the small apartment she'd mocked. It was actually 2,400 square feet of converted warehouse space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Worth $1.8 million paid in cash. She looked around, really seeing it for the first time. This isn't small, she said quietly. No. And your car isn't old, it's vintage. A maintained classic. Yes. He sat on my couch looking broken. I can't secure refinancing. Not at terms I can sustain. If I take the best offer I've received, I'll be working for the next 7 years just to service the debt. No profit. No growth. Just survival. I'm aware. You're monitoring my applications? I like to stay informed about my investments, even former ones. He started crying. Jordan, I'll lose everything. The expansion will fail. I'll have to close 2 locations. Lay off 15 people. Some of them have families. Kids. I know. And you don't care? I sat across from her. I care. But I also care that you publicly humiliated me while benefiting from my generosity. I care that my entire family views me as a failure while I'm literally funding their success. I care that not once, did any of you stop to think that maybe you didn't have the full picture. We were wrong. I was wrong. I'm admitting that. After consequences arrived. Not before. What do you want from me? Public apology? I'll do it. Money? I'll pay you back every penny somehow. Just please don't let me fail like this. I studied her. Really looked at her. For the first time in my life we were meeting as equals. No pedestals, no pity, just two people seeing each other clearly. Do you know why I approved your loan? I asked. No. Because your business plan was exceptional. Your patient retention was 94%. Your revenue projections were conservative but realistic. You understood your market. You were genuinely good at what you did. Are. You're still good at it. The problem isn't your medical skills. It's your judgment. You assumed you built everything alone without help through pure merit. But nobody succeeds alone, Rebecca. Nobody. I know that now. Do you? Because here's what I see. You're not apologizing for years of disrespect. You're apologizing because you got caught. You're not sorry you hurt me. You're sorry it's costing you money. That's not. Prove me wrong. She looked up. How? I'm going to make you an offer. One time. Take it or leave it. Anything. I'll restructure your loan. Not recall it, restructure it. New terms. Same amount, $3.1 million remaining balance. 15-year amortization instead of the remaining 3 years on your current deal. Interest rate reduced from 6.2% to 5.1%. Her eyes widened. That would save me almost $800,000 over the life of the loan. Yes. Why would you do that? Because I'm not trying to destroy you. I never was. I'm trying to teach you something you should have learned years ago. What? Humility. Respect. The understanding that the person you're dismissing might be the one keeping you afloat. What do you want in return? 3 things. First, a formal written apology, not to me, to yourself. Write down every assumption you made, every dismissive comment, every time you judged someone's worth by their appearance rather than their character. Read it. Understand it. Learn from it. She nodded. Second, you're going to restructure your relationship with your employees. Profit sharing. Real profit sharing. Not token bonuses. If your practice succeeds, they succeed. Build something sustainable, not an empire built on your ego. Okay. Third, and this is non-negotiable, you're going to tell the truth. To Mom, Dad, Marcus, the whole family. The truth about where your loan came from. The truth about how you built your success. The truth about what you said to me and what happened as a result. She flinched. They'll hate me. Maybe. Or maybe they'll learn the same lesson you're learning. That success isn't a solo performance and cruelty has costs. And if I do all that? Then you get the restructured terms. Better than what you had originally. Your practice survives. Your employees keep their jobs. Your patients keep their doctors. But you do it with eyes open about how you got here. Rebecca was quiet for a long time. I really am sorry, you know. Not just because of the money. I'm sorry for not seeing you. For making you small to make myself feel big. I know. How? Because if you were only sorry about the money, you wouldn't be crying. She wiped her eyes. I accept your terms. All 3. All 3. I pulled out my phone and called James Chin. James, I'm restructuring the Mitchell medical loan instead of recalling it. I'll send you the new terms this afternoon. I hung up. Rebecca let out a breath she'd been holding. Thank you. Don't thank me. Earn it. She nodded, stood to leave, then paused. Jordan, the $127 million. What are you going to do with it? Keep building. Keep investing. Keep helping people who deserve it. Will you help me again? After this? That depends entirely on who you become over the next 15 years. The family meeting happened 2 weeks later. Mom hosted at Rebecca's request. Everyone was there. Mom, Dad, Marcus, his wife Rebecca, even Aunt Sarah and Uncle Tom. Rebecca stood at the head of the table, trembling slightly. I owe everyone here an apology, but especially Jordan. 2 weeks ago at dinner I said something cruel and dismissive. I told Jordan to stop pretending he had money. I mocked his career. I belittled his choices. Dad shifted uncomfortably. Mom looked at her hands. What you don't know, what I didn't know, is that Jordan has built a private equity portfolio worth $127 million. He manages investments in 17 companies including mine. Aunt Sarah gasped. Uncle Tom's jaw dropped. The $3.8 million loan that allowed me to expand my practice? That was Jordan. The favorable terms that made my growth possible? The financial backing that made me look successful? Jordan. Marcus stared at me. I kept my expression neutral. And I thanked him by publicly humiliating him. By telling him he didn't understand money while building my empire on his capital. Rebecca, Dad started. I'm not finished. Dad, you told Jordan he wasn't building anything real. Mom, you pitted him for his small apartment. Marcus, you offered him an entry-level position at your firm out of charity. She looked at each of them. Jordan didn't need any of our help. He never did. He was supporting us, quietly, privately, without asking for credit or recognition. I didn't know, Mom whispered. That's the point. We didn't know because we never bothered to look. We assumed. We judged. We made Jordan small so we could feel big. He turned to me. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Not because you're rich but because I was cruel. You deserved better from your sister. The room was silent. Dad finally spoke. I don't know what to say. You could start with the truth, Dad. Did you believe I was failing? Or did you need me to be failing? He was quiet for a long moment. Both. I think it was easier to have one child struggling. It made the other's success feel more earned. That's horrible to admit. Yes, I agreed. It is. Mom was crying. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. We should have asked. Should have really looked. You should have trusted me. Believed in me. Given me the same benefit of the doubt you gave Marcus and Rebecca. Marcus spoke up. For what it's worth, Jordan, I'm proud of you. I didn't see it before but I see it now. What you built. That's remarkable. Thank you. Are you going to forgive us? Mom asked. I don't know yet, I said honestly. I'm going to need time. And you're going to need to earn back my trust. But I'm open to the possibility. Rebecca sat down. Jordan restructured my loan instead of destroying my practice. He gave me terms better than I originally had. He could have ruined me. He chose to teach me instead. That's because I don't hate any of you, I said. I'm disappointed. Hurt. Angry. But I don't hate you. You're my family. Flawed, frustrating, occasionally cruel, but family. Dad stood and walked over to me. I'm proud of you, son. I should have said that years ago. I'm sorry I didn't. We shook hands. It wasn't a hug, not yet. But it was a start. Over the next 6 months things slowly changed. Rebecca restructured her practice with profit sharing. Her employees became partners in success. She worked harder, complained less, and never again commented on anyone's financial situation without knowing the full story. Marcus stopped offering me career advice. We actually became closer. He respected what I'd built and I respected his legal mind. We started collaborating on deals that needed both financial and legal expertise. Mom and Dad attended therapy together. Dad admitted he'd projected his own insecurities onto me. Mom acknowledged she'd enabled the family dynamic by never challenging it. As for me, I kept building, kept investing, kept being selective about what I shared and with whom. But I also started being more open with my family, in measured doses. They knew about major deals now. They asked intelligent questions instead of making assumptions. They treated me like an equal rather than a charity case. Last month, Rebecca's practice achieved its highest quarterly revenue ever, $1.3 million. She called me first to share the news. Thank you, she said, for the loan, for the lesson, for not giving up on me when I gave you every reason to. You're welcome. I'm going to make you proud, Jordan. I promise. You already have, I said. Not because of the revenue. Because you chose to grow. That's the thing about family drama and power reversals. The point isn't the money. It never was. The point is recognition. Respect. The understanding that worth isn't determined by job titles or bank balances. It's determined by character, integrity, and how you treat people when you think they have nothing to offer you. My family learned that lesson the hard way. And I learned something too, that sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's education. My name is Jordan Mitchell. I manage a $127 million private equity portfolio. I'm my sister's anonymous benefactor. I'm my family's hidden pillar. And I'm finally seen.